Button has been clicked. The things are moving around. Oh, and we're live. Keith,
Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Big news. Big news today. The groundhog did not see its shadow. We're having an early spring. News doesn't get bigger than that. It does. It does. You saw the title to this show. Kinda
Yes.
catch new people up, please. You know, that's a job we always have to do. What is the dad email saga that everybody's talking about?
I love that you called it a saga because I actually truly believe it is a saga. It went on for at least one entire year. It started basically on your birthday when your
Yeah.
dad decided to email your ex of 2 years. When I say ex, ex-wife, been divorced for 2 years. And he goes, "Hey, whatever happened between you and my son Keith?" And she goes, "We talk,"
What?
because they
Right.
didn't talk. So she hit the forward button. She sends it to you because for some reason you guys are still friends. And she said,
What?
"Hey, can you get you and your dad and your whole freaking family out of my life?" But she's polite. So she said it like a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, "Hey, it is my birthday. Can I please use this email to keep emailing my dad and pretend that I'm you?" And she said, "What did I just say? Bye." And then that began that was the true beginning of the saga, which we thought would go on for a
A
day.
month at the most. Like he'd
A,
admit it in a month. I would think, Dad, what are you doing? And he'd say, I don't know, as maybe he wouldn't admit he's out of line, but he'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And then we can continue fake communicating.
yeah, I thought at the most, I don't even know if he would say my bad,
Right.
like you're kind of insinuating. I don't think he's ever said that in his life, like any sense of apology.
Right.
I think what he would do is, huh? And then you move on.
Right. I could have taken a
That's
huh. I could have taken a huh.
yeah. But instead of a huh, you started emailing back and forth with your dad for what went on for a year. And for those who are new, we learned so much about Father Malley. All we knew is that he was a priest who really liked his kids to dig holes when they didn't do anything but got in trouble anyway. But
He
what
he
we
would pretend we got in trouble, and it was really just so he had the house by himself when my mom was at work.
That's so weird to put together
Yeah.
because we talk to parents now and we're like, yeah, of course you want your kids not to be around all the time. Like you do need a break. But
Right.
when we talk about Father Malley, we're just like, a break from what?
Right.
When did you start fathering? What are you punishing for? What are my duties and what
Right.
have I not done? I basically, as a Mally, go to school, wait 5 hours to be picked up afterwards,
Mhm.
and then dig holes before I go to sleep. I don't, that's what your childhood sounds like.
And when
Other than
Henda
that, you do little
says
skits and bits, which we can
what
get into.
when Henda says Father Malley, keep in mind it's not just a cute way of saying dad. He was a Catholic priest.
Was he? But yeah, that's his main claim to fame is he was blessing your mother's house when he met her and decided to fall in love and get out of priesthood. No big deal,
But
just out of priesthood.
my point is he supposedly is a man of great morality. So when I'm catfishing him as my ex-wife, it is extra off-putting that he's trying to fuck her me.
Yeah.
That's a little extra.
Yeah, I don't know that we knew that it would go in that direction, but it went in so many directions, and that was one of them. What was it? You sure make this old man's libido jingle.
Yes.
Those words are in my brain. Now Christmas is weird and it never was, anything to me. Now it's just this
It,
jingling libido.
I hear jingle bells. It makes my fucking stomach turn. No joke. So we've been talking on Keith and the Girl about these emails as they came in. Next thing you know, I create keithandthegirl.com/dad, and it's all the different parts when we had guests on. Uh, guess that it was a coincidence. Whatever guest was on, if an email came in that day, they were now part of this living hell. And so I took all those segments and put them on a website /dad, and you can hear them all together. And then I thought, you know what'd be more amazing? Because if you could physically hold a book of these emails in your hand so that you could go back and see an email that my dad sent that he tried to ignore in a following email, this kind of thing. And that's exactly what I did. We have the dad emails book right here. It is now available for everybody. And by the way, if you look at the cover, the art was created by Josh Rogers and Mallory Jane, and it's fantastic. But you see my dad looking at a computer with lotion and tissue. You get it. You get it. In the back is the cross. On it isn't Jesus. It's the Ugly Kid Joe mascot. Blah, blah, blah. Cat's in the cradle. So if you look in my dad's glasses, it's reflecting the screen. And in his glasses in tiny print is the time he said, "You do make this old man's libido jingle." And that, by the way, is only about 1/3 into this book. It gets even crazier and sicker, and I couldn't be more proud. As an artiste, and I think any creative person feels this way. I've created books, I did stand-up albums. You make it, you're proud of it, then some time goes by, and you're like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? We all have lives. I wrote an autobiography. Okay, did you live, other person? Like who? This though, because it's my dad's emails, it's not necessarily just me, and I'm able to say this is so fucking good. This book, and anytime I start at the first page, my jaw drops again.
Me too. Me too. We've had to read this a lot of times because, we're editing and we're putting
Right.
it together. We're making sure that it streams like a real book, like you're not just reading emails back and forth, which would already be amazing.
Right.
And I thought like, okay, this is going to be like my third, fourth time. Again, jaw drops. Again, I'm like, oh, right. That's just like a piece of it. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Let me tell you, like, the chat on live YouTube is coming in. Bad Beef is saying, I have never bought something so quickly on Amazon. Frederick is saying, what time does the marathon start? It's tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. Um, Ryan is saying, can you win a Pulitzer Prize for emails? Because that should happen. Um, and wait, there was, I burned as many calories laughing at the dad emails as Keith burned digging these holes.
Right. I'm just turning to random pages. You can read it straight through. That's because the timeline makes complete sense. Or you can have it in your bathroom and just pick a random page.
I don't know. I don't know what would blow your mind more, a random page or reading it in succession.
I do see, different people I've seen flip through this. So they're not going to read it in front of me necessarily, but they will pick a random page. Next thing you know, they could have finished the book by now if they started at the beginning and the end. They're like, okay, this part, okay, this part, okay, the in between part, and I'm like,
Mhm.
it is so good. It is so good, and my dad has a copy. He signed for it yesterday. I wrote, Dad, congrats. We finally worked together, Keith.
And,
Ah,
and you haven't heard? I don't know if you're
I
about
haven't
to.
heard back. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because at this point, you get a book. It's a real fucking book, by the way. 236 pages. That's how I can prove it. You Once you get this book, you gotta realize, hey, anything I do again will give Keith fodder.
I don't know. Okay. Yes.
But with that
Right.
said, there's a book, so I don't know either.
There's a book. Before there was a book, there was another book. You quoted him in your autobiography, The Great American Novel. Also,
Right.
by the way, available on Amazon with this book. The Great American Novel is the prequel. You had the book, you
Yeah.
had the podcast where he kept saying, like, don't do fodder like that and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But now there's a book. You think in book form, he's gonna say now that's his limit. He's gonna just get real all of a sudden.
I get you. Not get real, just be silent. But yeah, how can he help himself? Because he always has to justify everything. So will he? But I don't know if he'll notoriate me. But I could see him reaching out to my siblings, going, Keith wrote all about you and mocked your mother, who's dead, and I could see him making up bullshit just to upset
Mm.
them. I can
hmm
I can see that.
Yes,
I
because you're talking through his brand. What is his brand so far? His brand is denial with an extra helping of bullshit on top of it. So not only
Right.
are you wrong while looking at the evidence, he also compiles other stuff that you didn't see because you're just too ignorant.
I wonder what if my dad he gets the book And he goes, and he changes the dad emails, crosses out dad, rates the Keith emails. And he says, based on your logic, I wrote a book. Oh, that's how you get me. I'm not gonna lie. That's how you
That's
get
pretty
me.
clever. That's pretty clever. Brittany is saying I refuse to color that page in the coloring book. The jingling,
Oh, we have a
jingling.
Keith and the Girl coloring book, and there's a one page is jingling libido with fancy art. Yeah. Mar per me, I just died and typed this from my grave. Sending your dad's book is fucking nuts. Common Lee says, son, I see that you have provided me with the first copy of the first edition. By the way, a little funny behind the scenes. I didn't. When people supported our Kickstarter that helped get this book going, um, I you got a copy of the book, you got it numbered, you got it signed. So the very first person gets the very first copy. On Dad's, I hope the person knows that in Dad's book, it says book number 1. That's not true. Just so you know, it was on the bottom of the box deliberately. Feels important. All right. Son, I see that you have provided me with the first copy of the first edition. While I am very pleased with one of my children being a published author, I wonder if, perhaps, the content should be based in fact and not in fantasy of the mind. People are doing great impressions of my dad.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
I fear to protect my good name in the community, I will now have to prove to you in a court of law that this text is full of libel and calumny. Though I have yet to complete my full initial assessment of your words, stay tuned, my son, for I will be in touch. I sent my dad the PDF version of the book and said,
Yeah.
whatever you write back, I'm going to put at the end of the book. It could be a paragraph, it could be pages. You're going to get the final word. That is how the book ends, with a real short statement that he wrote. But it was so short and came back so fast that I know he didn't look at a PDF. I know it. Not really. He knew it wasn't positive. But a physical book in your hand with artwork and your name on page 1. You open the book, it says the dad emails on the first page. The next page is the dad emails, or How I Catfished My Dad for a Year by Keith Malley, featuring, and all the guests that were on the show. So fucking funny. And then it says, with Michael G. Malley, my dad. That you don't ignore. Then you just open a random page and you're like, oh, every page. Oh, that's another email I sent my son. Oh, that's another email. Oh, that's another. He saw this book. He signed for it, but he also saw it. I know it, and it makes me so horny.
The weird thing is I don't.
All of it?
Okay, so I get, yes, it's very weird. Yes, but I don't know if we can expect anything than the usual nonsense. You're saying, how about now? Now it's a real physical book. No, you sound like some other, let's say some other kid going like, but how about now? I've been in rehab and I've been clean and sober for a year. Surely my dad will be a reasonable person
Oh, I'm
who
not. I hope you know I'm not
recognizes the
saying that.
truth.
I'm not
No,
saying he's going to be human,
okay, okay.
but will he? Will he still try to trick me? Will he still to me? Will there be an email where it's like, or does he know this is going to have more books if he keeps going than the Hunger Games?
Hmm. Hmm.
I have a sibling that wrote, "You should have signed it. Water under the bridge." Love, Keith. Hey, I had to change the heart, Dad. Anyways,
Eric is saying the title of today's episode could have easily been Cringe the Book. Oh, no, the title of your book could have been Cringe the
sure.
Book. Yes.
Chris is saying you should email him, Dad. I think I'm ready to work things out with you. I hope he reaches out to all the contributors of the book, all the guests that we had on. It's like, you don't know the full story.
Okay, that's an option I could
I
actually
can see
see.
that.
Yeah,
I
I
can
could
see
see that.
that.
If he knew how to get in touch with people. I could see him getting in touch with your siblings to say, how do I reach out to these people?
Dear Rojo, I believe my son may have grossly exaggerated the situation on his blasphemous podcast. Let me know if you would like the full story. And please, by all means, call me Dad. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I hope he sues me. Like, I hope I hope I do hope there's a little more.
I think he's going to try to.
Good. Joke's on him, though, because I contacted the lawyers in his area for a free consultation. So legally, they can't work together. It's a conflict of interest. So, I should have contacted whatever lawyer is closest to where my dad lives and like said, hey, my dad's gonna ask you some stupid fucking question. He still has money from the house when my mom died, so we're gonna work out a deal together.
Oof. Oof. Have you sent it to the people who interviewed your dad about the gold rush?
I didn't think what was that? Scientific
Just
America?
thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah. My dad turned away one way or another all my extended family. Otherwise, I would send it to them also, but they already get it. They're
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, we don't talk to your dad.
Mm.
He's a fucking weirdo.
Send it to
So,
the Library of Somerset.
should we have fake lawyers call him up like every hour? Have you been a victim of your child's antics? We can help. Ah, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Ah,
Oh, also, some people already have this book, right? If you followed us on social media
that's
or
right.
if you gave to the Kickstarter where this was one of the options, you already have it. If you do already have it, or you know all about it, you know pretty much a lot
Right.
if you've been listening. If you can give it a rate and a review on Amazon, that
Yeah,
would be
that's a big
great.
deal.
Share it. Yeah.
So that's how you get the book. Go to keithandthegirl.com/dadbook, and it'll take you right to the Amazon link. That's where you get it right now. Yeah, it's very exciting. So buy it right away. You know how this shit works. Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. Leave a comment and a review. And of course, like anything, Amazon allows you to hit a button that shares it with somebody. So feel free to do that. You'll look like a hero. This
Uh,
is crazy.
yeah. Ryan V is saying buy a billboard ad for the book near him. If he sells enough
Oh,
books, he can do that.
okay.
If it, you got to sell the books. Or
One
maybe that's what your
billboard in
next
Somerset,
Kickstarter.
Pennsylvania.
That's your next Kickstarter.
Billboard. I don't. I even erect the billboard holder right outside his house. We buy a whole new setup. Oh, this is exciting. KeithandTheGirl.com/dadbook. And yeah, I do want to hear your reviews. It's the craziest.
It'd be it'd be
It's the
fun
craziest.
to read it over the marathon this weekend.
Yeah, so somebody from the reviews, yeah, somebody from my high school, Tiffany. I had such a crush on Tiffany. She wrote on Facebook when I promoted it and said, I like, oh my God, I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, Tiffany. Me neither.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that satisfying?
Yes.
It's got to be, right?
It's not a date. It's even cooler.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, it's very exciting. All right, that's it. KeithandTheGirl.com/dadbook. The marathon is tomorrow. 24 hours. We'll be live with Keith and the Girl. Subscribe to our YouTube. The bell will ring in the afternoon. It starts 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Did you have a special sound check yesterday?
I had a, well,
Uh-oh.
fucking. So the marathon was going to start with Chris Turner and Chaz Kangas. If you've been listening to Keith and the Girl, you know Chaz Kangas from a couple years ago. Seems kind of like Chris Turner recently, a new guest host. Seems almost like meek, shy. Am I saying this right? But then does improv rap based on what he just heard for the first time, and it's the real deal. Blows any professional out of the water.
Yeah,
It's
I
fantastic.
love how we depict modest people as not listening, and then we're surprised that they're like, "No, not only am I listening, I memorize it and I could spit it back at you in a
Yes.
cooler way. Don't worry about me. Fix your own face."
So we thought it'd be funny. The two of them will be on at the same time, and even if we don't call it like this, quite frankly, it's a rap battle now, right? So Chris Turner always has a good setup, and Chaz doesn't necessarily have a good setup since Zoom. So I go, hey, let's do a test. Long story short, he needs an interface that he never got. And that's what allows you to play music and loop back, et cetera, et cetera. He's not going to be able to do it because of that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I can tell he's kind of clear, but a little shy about saying he's not going to have one in time.
Oh,
And
so
for like $100, you can go to a Guitar Center or anything and get one.
mm.
I'd buy him one if he was, into it more. but you could tell he knows it's hassle and too last minute for him.
Okay.
And but it's so stupid.
Mm.
First of all, Chris Turner isn't even goddamn American. That was something too. I don't know
Oh.
when you're allowed to talk about race. Apparently during the Olympics is fine. He would have been representing our country, quite frankly, this Chaz. And here I am with my dick in my hand. Okay. This is like if you saw Slash like noodling like an air guitar, and it's like, I could tell that'd be something. He's like, yeah, I should get around to buying a guitar. You should. You should, because you need it, because it's what you do. And it's the world we live in now. So this means Chaz has been on other people's podcasts doing his gift by playing sound through a speaker, like a stereo, and then his mic picking it up.
I see.
And no podcast, quite frankly, they don't care as much as we do. They don't give a shit, and they're just putting that crap out that you can barely hear, saying thanks for your time. And we can't live like that. And now here we are.
America.
Yeah, America. This is why the world laughs at America. Shit
This
like
is
this.
why. This is why.
This is why.
That's disappointing, but that was supposed to be the cherry because we still have Chris Turner who will be doing raps. And I also booked
Chris Turner. Chris Turner was so kind that I called Chris and said, hey, I don't know why you want to help your enemy out, but tell me your setup, even if I know it. And he went down a little lit, and of course it all came down to an interface.
Wow.
But he was so Chris is gonna destroy him. Now he knows all this behind the scenes too.
Well, he's going to come up right up front, right? He's starting the marathon with us,
Yeah.
but so is Christian Finnegan. So it's two Chris's kind of, right? Starting the marathon. So I hope some other religions are following that. What did I do on booking? No, but I thought Christian Finnegan would be a great start to this marathon. He is a legend. He's been around since the beginning of Keith and the Girl, since before that even. We met at Surf Reality. So I feel like that's a good last marathon vibe for me.
Just looking at some names. Just grabbing names. Abby Crutchfield, I see. Emily Panic. Jeff Meacham. He's the
Jeff
white
Meacham
guy
is
in Blackish. We worked kids parties with him way back in the day. Always good stories. Were you gonna say something? Sorry.
I was gonna say that, but also since we're here, for those who are new and don't know Jeff Meacham, oh my goodness. Go to keithandthegirl.com/Jeff Meacham and enjoy yourself. Start from the first one he's been on. Don't go backwards.
Right.
Because that's when we were still doing kids parties. Okay. Put on your 1980s thinking brain and enjoy.
It's a very fun evolution. Megan Keister. There's a section of Murph Meyer, the druggie, Craig Klein, the druggie, and Mark Mateo. Right. Mark Mayo. What the fuck is his name? Mark DeMayo. Mark DeMayo. Anyway, he's an ex detective. It's gonna be fun having Murph Meyer, Craig Klein, and the next detective on in the same segment.
Yeah, that is funny.
Kyle Thompson, our old intern. He's gonna say hello. He's in the Dad Emails book, by the way. Brother Love. Do you know
that Kyle is coming on while Newsy's on?
That's great. There's gonna be some old school stories there. Dylan Adler, Jimmy Pardo. Very excited. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube. The marathon starts on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Have you had stress dreams yet? Sometimes I would have a dream, we've talked about this before, about the marathon. It feels so real in the dream. And it'd be like, all right, we got everything together. The marathon now starts. And me and Kenda just stare at each other in this dream. And we knew separately we had this dream. We only talked about it later. I have nothing to say. Well, I can't think of something. Well, just say anything. You say something. I have nothing to say. We can talk about how we have nothing to say.
That's the thing. In my dream, I not only was thinking that, I couldn't even say that. So in my dream, I was the on-air sign came on, we were live, and in my head I go, I don't know what to say. I have no conversation. I'm panicking. I'm looking for conversation. And I go, Hamda, you know how to do this. Just say that you have no conversation and that you're nervous. That's okay. That's a start. And I'm like, oh, I don't, how do I even start saying that? And no words came out and everyone's just staring at me. I cannot believe how textbook nervous that dream is, right?
Yeah.
This week, I had one weird dream where I think I might have even like woke up yelling or something, but just first, like just yelling help. I'm not even sure. But because when you don't know, like, did I just yell in my dream or in
Sure.
reality? So I was leaning back on a wall, and next to me was a window, just chilling. All of a sudden, through the window, a fucking hippo started to come in. He's right on my shoulder, continuing to come in, and I'm like, I don't know what to do when hippos come. Do I bonk them on the beak? Like, what is? Are they like crocodiles? Um, I'm trying not to help somebody, and I'm trying not to be loud, like just in case that startles a hippo, and that's when he
Sure.
opens his mouth and your whole head goes in it. And I feel the hippo in my dream, and I just woke up. I don't. That was
Wow.
so scary, but I don't know what that has to do
Something big
with.
and heavy is coming.
Yes. Yes, that's what I think. Yeah.
Did
My dream manifestations are more metaphoric now. I'm so deep.
its teeth fall out? That's when you're in trouble. I didn't have stress dreams yet. Well, I talked to Chaz, I guess. That was kind of. Do you have your food scheduled?
I am going to a couple of supermarkets today.
Me
I
too.
don't have a schedule because I always think of myself as like a well-scheduled person during the marathon. This year, I think I'm going to get real. I'm probably going to start with cookies. You know what I mean? Like
Okay, right.
I don't know how it always happens that as soon as the marathon starts, I'm starving, not just
Yes.
hungry. Like I just ran a marathon. It must be because like everything's running in my body. And
Right.
so I just get hungry. So I'm like, great, 5 minutes in, I'm eating. I'm like, oh, this is a marathon. Like you gotta carb up, guys.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better about I definitely, I say I'm gonna start with cookies, but I definitely need salad because like 6, 12 hours, 18 hours in,
Yeah.
I start feeling like my hair hasn't been I'm washing my hair today, but it starts feeling like my hair hasn't been washed in weeks. It starts feeling like I'm in the juice of everything that I ate. And I'm like, salad will cleanse, just a little freshness, and then followed by a bunch of garbage. But
Yeah,
it's
because
just it's just a garbage weekend and we're gonna enjoy.
we have to get all that microwavable stuff to be
Hmm.
quick. So yeah, that weighs you down too. It's really tough to be a talk athlete. But we got to plan it just right. Got to get my nuts and cheese. Got to get my juices, Gatorade, like I'm Michael Jordan.
I gotta time my coffees, otherwise I'm gonna
Mm,
have to poop right after.
I
So I
hear
gotta
ya.
I gotta have some space and some poop down time. You gotta time that in a marathon. I mean, marathon runners know that. They just poop their pants. I'm not there yet. So
I'm looking up steroids. A lot going on.
I'll just do like 20 minutes an hour from the bathroom.
Did I don't know if you saw this. A billionaire, Peter Thiel. I don't really know his story. I understand he likes to be controversial with his money, like an Elon Musk almost. In fact, Peter Thiel was a founder of PayPal. So he's a billionaire. He says he's going to start an Olympics on steroids. So if you want to be if you're an athlete, but your steroid use kind of gets in the way of testing, you could join him and it'll be the most exciting events ever because you may do steroids. Which, by the way, everybody's still doing steroids. They have ways to get around it. You're not going to get the best of the best. But I guess if you're a has been or you're older than you should be, you're allowed to do steroids and compete.
Holy shit.
I
But
want to
now
see those. I
they
want to
have
see
to
those
admit it.
I want to see the post interviews. Like that shit was not on the line, mother. Like everybody's gonna have rage, right?
Right, especially because you don't have to hide it.
Right.
Yeah, like I know in the campground that we mostly go to, they don't allow drinking because it's a state park and everything. And that really doesn't mean that no one's drinking. It means that people are being subtle, they can't get out of
Right.
control, they're sort of like being humble about it, right? But if you allow for drinking, people will be, oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of like how this is.
They're gonna be doing the dash. They're gonna be running and they're gonna be shooting up as they run. It's anything fucking goes. It's gonna be crazy. They
Now,
did
is doing steroids legal in general? Like,
no.
is so does he have to call it something else? Like,
Oh,
just
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I
like
think it is. I think it is. I don't
you
know.
can have steroids,
I
like you
don't
can
know.
get that from a
It
doctor.
doesn't sound like you can fly with it. Whatever they're up to, it doesn't sound like we're talking about doctor prescribed steroids. It doesn't sound on the up and up. It doesn't sound like you take that prescription to CVS.
Right. Like, is it like Adderall where I could have a prescription, but I'm probably using my cousin's, like that kind of thing?
But you're taking more than the recommended dose, I assume.
Yeah. Well, that's a different story.
Anything that you got to shoot into your
Wait, why am I
asshole.
Googling this? I don't want this in my timeline. Fuck that. It's bad enough I'm talking about it and it could hear me.
In the regular Olympics, these people they can get nervous, they get the yips. In steroids Olympics, they're like, yippies, the steroids are here. They, you're not- they're gonna there's gonna be so many fights and people are trying to tase them, but it doesn't affect them. Like, what are you doing? That stings on my back. Oh, tasing me. Please, I tase myself for fun like a bull before the race starts.
Well, funnily enough, that's going to be one of the Olympic sports in this new Olympics. Like you're going to have so much open to you. Ryan, I cannot read your comment because I think that would encourage people to do terrible shit. So if you're not listening live and reading Ryan V, you should prescribe to our YouTube channel, Keith and the Girl. Anna says it can be prescribed. Um, so
It's not prescribed whatever the fuck like a Barry Bonds was doing. That's what these people are going to be doing. Arnold Schwarzenegger shit wasn't prescribed. That's what we're talking about then. I wouldn't, oh, they're going to throw the discus into like the next town. All right, I'd be into that.
do they
What are you
sell
doing? You
like,
have so much money. You don't know what to do. What a life. Can you imagine? I'm going to
well,
have a steroid Olympics.
you see the sports that you want to see, right? You
Mhm.
you create the world that you were looking for. Weren't you looking for that world? He seems to be on your
Football
well,
with no helmets. I
right,
mean, what the
right.
fuck are we talking about? All right. So anyway, the Dead Emails book, it's now available. Now's the time to get it. The momentum, et cetera, et cetera. Leave a comment and a review. KeithandTheGirl.com/dadbook and share it. Obviously, nowadays there's a button to share everything. I'm so excited by this. I want to thank again the contributors so much. I'm very, very proud of this. It's fantastic. It really came together very nice. It looks pretty, et cetera, et cetera. I
And
love it.
for those who don't know how to find the YouTube channel that we're on, the Keith and the Girl YouTube channel, we will be redirecting keithandthegirl.com/marathon. That'll take you right there. It'll also be on our homepage at keithandthegirl.com. Put Keith and the Girl into interwebs. And, someone just heard me say interwebs and said it's not the interweb. Interweb is something different. That was a joke, you guys.
Anyway,
Uh,
thank you for prescribing, and we will talk to you soon. That's it. Thank
that's
you,
funny. That's
folks.
funny. Click all the buttons in front of you. Let me tell you, he said, I did steroids for the first time recently and I get the appeal.
All
That's what
right.
Ryan said.
All right.
And Anna goes, are you swole? And he said it got me out of bed after COVID. That's good. And then he clapped for us, but it does seem to be bigger hands this time. So, okay. Thanks, Anna. Thank you all. Thanks, Chris. And I see Chris. I see Pizza. I see
Yes.
Eric. I see Neil. All right, you guys. Hope you'll be here tomorrow at some or all the points. I know people are taking some days off of work so they could
Yeah.
be around. And I freaking love that. All right, we'll be reading your feedback that day also.